What's up, guys? Coach Frost here. Today, I got to sit down with Coach David Butler. Coach Butler has been coaching track and field for the last 50 years, everybody from elementary school age kids all the way up to Olympians and current world record holders. This is one you don't want to miss. He talks a lot about how to be a great athlete, how to coach great athletes, and how kids should train as kids. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, fighting out of the blue corner from Rice University, Coach David Butler.
There you go, man.
Who has spent the Rice Owls 99.9 more time on the track than 99.9% of all humans to have ever lived.
Absolutely unbelievable. Spend my whole life near an oval. We really don't pay attention to the oval with the stripes on it because we think, why do we need that? All we need is one runway for the pole vault.
The pole vault.
That's right.
The Violent Ballet.
The Violent Ballet.
Which is the title of your book.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
That came from my background in dance. And my good friend Jim B. Miller, who is former University of Tennessee coach, coached Olympic champion Tim Mack. We were talking about the book, and I go, "Yeah, what do you think?" And he goes, "Well, just call it a Violent Ballet." And I went, "What was that?" And it was just like, that's perfect. So yeah, it comes from my background, my love for dance and ballet.
What made you want to write the book?
I tell that story in the book, but Scott Huffman and I ran into each other at the Pole Vault Summit many years ago, and he came up, and we're not friends, but we knew each other, and he said, "Thank you for what you do for American pole vaulting. You should write a book." And I pawpawed that, and thank you so much, and walked away. And then a week later, Tim Mack called me, Olympic champion 2004. And Tim, during the conversation, said, you need to write a book. I go, "Did you talk to Scott Huffman? Did Huffman put this up?" No. And then that's when I started saying, okay, maybe I need to get this together.
And what was that process like?
It was the most work I've ever done in my life.
No kidding.
Yes. Because I had most of the chapters already written, because I write articles all the time. I've been published all over the world. But when you're editing, I think we did 254 edits. And when you edit a book, you take that particular chapter and he lays it out. We lay it out, the designer laid it out on the table, and we would go through each page and choose what photograph or drawing was going to be, where it was going to be, the emotions, what we're trying to accomplish with this particular chapter. Went through all that together. Then I'd go home over the weekend and read it, and then try to find out there's some problem, and then we'd do it again. And we did that with every chapter for a couple years before the book was ready to go.
And there's a ton of illustrations and words in your pole vault book.
Yeah, a ton of stuff.
Are there other books on the pole vault out there?
Yes. Yes.
Not too many, I would assume, though, huh?
Well, the first great one that was not Russian was Dick Ganslin's book, that Mechanics of the Pole Vault, that was, sold when I was growing up and starting to vault. And I used to steal the track and field news from my head coach's office so that I could read the track and field news and cut out the pictures of the pole vault and then give the magazine back so I could have those pictures up on my wall. But Dick Ganslin had these wonderful books from 1956 to 1980. And when I was in high school, or when I was in college, I wrote him a letter. And that started a long relationship through the years, to the point where his daughters and I are friends, and his oldest daughter and I, we met when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So Dick is a great inspiration. He was the first that wrote in English. Now, the Russians have had some incredible books. I have one that's back in 1952, and it's excellent.
Really?
I can't read it, but it's just beautiful. Filled with illustrations, all the good correct technique and stuff like that.
How much is the technique changed from 1952 to 2025?
Well, essentially, it's the same.
Okay.
You have to move the pole, not worry about bending the pole. Okay. And in this day and age, everybody's worried about bending the pole, but not rotating the pole and accelerating it to vertical. So I don't see it as much of a change. If you're teaching it, you should start out with a straight pole and work your way up to a slightly bend, and then go to a full bend and go full fiberglass.
Yeah.
But a lot of people take shortcuts and force bend poles to get quick results and then get stuck.
And in the 50s, that was still bamboo they were jumping with, or what were they?
50s, they were in metal poles.
Metal poles.
Well, the story about that is quite interesting. You had World War II.
Okay.
The Japanese were in World War II. And so after World War II, part of the deal was the Japanese didn't get to be in the Olympic Games in 48.
Okay.
They were banned along with Germany and, I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, the metal poles.
So what happened was you couldn't get bamboo anywhere because Japan is where you got the best bamboo.
No.
So in their infinite wisdom, they came up, well, let's just use steel or aluminum or alloys, and it'll be like synthetic bamboo, and that's what they did.
And it would eventually stay bent, right? Wouldn't it? Or would it always come back to its natural form?
Oh, no, the metal would bend about a foot out of line and come back natural, but if you hit just a little bit farther, it would just fold. Yeah. So they were the worst idea for a pole.
And did performance drop from bamboo to metal as far as height went?
No, they figured it out.
They figured it out.
Yeah.
And
so
so bamboo, metal, and then fiberglass showed up when?
Fiberglass showed up in around 1958. They started experimenting with fiberglass. And then athletes started using it I think in 1956 you had a decathlete use the first fiberglass pole in the Olympic Games.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, it went crazy. Early 60s.
Did he jump higher than everybody else on the fiberglass?
No. Just decathlete pole vault. Not necessarily world class, but
it got attention and started to catch on.
Yeah. I have an interesting story about that about bamboo poles.
Okay.
So to get back to the Olympic Games in 48, Gwynn Smith, who fought in World War II, flew planes over the mountains in Burma to land supplies in Burma. And he came out of retirement, decided to try to make the team, started jumping 14 feet again, 14.6 on bamboo.
That's solid.
Landing in sand and sawdust.
No foam pits.
Well, he gets a letter from one of the great Japanese pole vaulters, Nishida, who was an Olympic medalist in 1936, famous for his teammate and he sharing the medal and cutting them in half and putting their two medals together.
They were first and second?
It's become one of the most famous.
Oh, cool. I haven't seen that.
Second and third. Most famous Olympic medal ever because they cut it in half and shared the silver and bronze.
Oh, nice.
So Nishida says, listen, I'm shipping you some bamboo. You need really good bamboo for the Olympics.
Yeah, even though he can't jump.
Okay. He ships the bamboo to Gwynn Smith. And in the pouring rain and cinders, where the puddles were where everybody landed their footfall, it was horrible conditions. Gwynn is nervous, so he's back off the track smoking a cigarette until they call his name. He runs out there and on Nishida's poles, jumps 14 feet, wins Olympic gold.
Nice. That is awesome. And when did pole vault become an Olympic sport?
At the very beginning of the Olympic Games.
No kidding.
Yeah, 1896, whatever that.
1896, it was one of the first
events. It was always
events.
included because it was included in physical education. In the early physical education programs of Jan and Gutsmuths. I know I'm messing up these names, but they always had pole vaulting as part of the training.
Really?
So I have old lithographs of women in full Victorian dresses jumping over things.
Now,
women.
Okay, so but where did that originate from? I mean, why did that become a thing?
It was just part of gymnastics. It was a part of the gymnastics program for physical fitness.
So somebody thought, all right, they should run and swing on this pole, and that's going to make them stronger and coordinated.
Absolutely.
And all those things.
It was a very important part of physical education, especially in Germany with Gutsmuths. Yeah.
And then
really cool.
I know I'm on your Facebook page. What's the name of your Facebook page for folks?
It's
Want to check it out?
the pole vault, a museum of its history, and really hope that a lot more people join, because I have one of the world's largest collections of imagery and film.
Yeah.
And two great historians just passed away in the last few years, and I'm one of the last old guys remaining. I have around 19,000 images and film.
Wow.
And I have stuff that nobody's seen, and I'm looking for a place for it to be exhibited and archived.
Oh, that would be cool.
Because I kicked the bucket. I don't want it to be thrown away, so I'd like it to be appreciated by pole vaulters all over the world.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So aside from the Facebook page, which has a ton of it, you're looking for a brick and mortar spot to showcase a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody listening can help out with that.
That'd be great.
Okay, so because I'm on. Okay, the page is called what again? The Facebook page?
Page is the pole vault, a museum of its
A
history.
museum of its history. And when I'm on there, I see a ton of. I mean, you have because you've traveled the world and you find stuff in random shops all over the world. How far back do you have of any type of pole vault type artifacts or?
Yesterday, I went to the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston.
Okay.
It's exhibiting the Pavia tapestries from 1525, a battle that happened in Italy
Okay.
many years ago. Well, I saw these tapestries in Napoli, Italy, 20 years ago.
Okay.
But I didn't know that on one of the tapestries, a soldier is pole vaulting over a creek to get a guy in battle,
Okay.
which is one of the earliest images I have of someone pole vaulting. And pole vaulting you can find in many, many battles. They did it.
Interesting.
And so I went to the exhibit yesterday to see these tapestries again all these years later, because I knew that that guy was jumping with that halberd to attack that guy. And it's pole vaulting in a very early form.
Wow. I remember, so when I jumped with you 30 years ago in high school, you showed us a video of some folks in some farmland somewhere in Europe that would pole vault over canals. Do you think that was a common practice for maybe even that group of folks dating back centuries?
Well, it's still a sport today in the Netherlands and Holland. They still have these competitions. You jump for distance over the water with very long poles.
Yes.
And you climb as high as you can.
Yeah.
And as it falls, you try to get off it and go for distance. Yes. So there are so many different forms of pole vaulting all over the world. In the Canary Islands, they have the shepherd's leap. And it's when they have a spiked wooden pole that they jump down the cliff side and slide down and then land on the ground so they can chase after the goats in the mountains as they graze. So it is a form of pole vaulting. They just jump down, not up.
So how long do you think humans have been doing some version of pole vaulting?
Ever since they wanted to get across that. Most of the time they want to get across the water. So how are we going to do it? Well, we'll just plant this pole and just jump across. Very easy. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Tarzan went from swinging on trees to pole vaulting across the
Tarzan
pond.
pole vaulted. Johnny Weissmuller pole vaulted in a Tarzan movie.
Oh, really?
It was there was a circus, and he was trying to save the damsel in distress, or maybe boy, I can't remember. And then he pole vaults. Yeah, I have it. Buster Keaton pole vaulted twice in two of his films, but he had a stunt double for one of the films, the film College, 1925, I think.
Okay.
And it shows him chasing to try to get to this damsel in distress who's on the second floor of this dorm room, and this guy is attacking her. And they shoot to Barnes, who was the Olympic champion from USC, and he was the stunt double, and he took one take, planted it against the wall, swung up, and went through the second-story window. One shot.
No way.
Everybody thought it was Buster. So, yeah, it's cool.
That is super cool. I love it, man. So has there been first off, how do you get people send you stuff? You travel? I mean, because you've literally been traveling the world ever since I've known you, probably before that, coaching, putting on seminars, going to track meets all over Europe, and we were just talking about Asia. And so how do you find this stuff?
You know, I started speaking, okay, let's go way back.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
After I coached and left you guys at Memorial,
Yep.
they asked me to come to Rice to be an assistant. Started the program at Rice, and I fell in love with traveling when I first started traveling. So in '99, I was going to go over to Switzerland to see art museums. And I called Steve, my good friend at UCS Spirit, and he goes, well, why don't you pop down and see Petrov in Formia, Italy? And I go, he won't remember me. And Steve said, I have a phone call. I'll get back with you. Well, Steve called Vitaly Petrov, who is the greatest contemporary pole vault coach in the world.
Bubka's coach.
And one of the great influencers of everybody.
Yeah.
And Petrov remembered meeting me at the pole vault summit coaching Michael Audenrath.
Oh, cool.
And so we got invited to go down to Formia from Switzerland. We flew into Rome, went to Formia, and I was there at Formia that first week, and I realized I knew nothing about the sport. I had no idea what I was doing.
And you had been doing it for how long at that point?
Oh my God, since 1976.
So from 76 to 99, so you 20-something years, and then you were like, oh man, I don't know squat about this.
Didn't go no squat. So when I came back to Rice, I had these new athletes that I just started working with, and I go, well, listen, I've got some new stuff. But every time I would change a technique or make these adjustments, it always worked. So I spent the next 5 summers going to see Petrov.
Oh, cool.
So for 6 summers in a row, I went back, and basically because he would say, Dovey, you come back next summer. Yes, sir. And that's the way it was. So I went for 6 summers, the first American to go and train with him and learn with him. So when I started doing the speeches, it was a lot related to his techniques. Everybody wanted to know, hey, what the heck's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I started, doing the speaking engagements and talking about all this madness. So I went 99, and that was a lot of years ago.
And when did the Russians become the best at it?
Well,
Or is that fair to say?
the Russians and Poles got to be really, really good. And
Pretty early on, or?
yes, Russians have always had a strong tradition in pole vaulting.
Okay.
And it went back to when they were on bamboo.
Okay.
Really strong tradition. Poland got really, really great in the 70s, which was their coach was Andrzej Szyszyński, who was a mentor of mine. And he had 76 Olympic gold medalists, the 80 gold medalists, silver, and other medalists before he came to the United States. So Poland, Russia, Germany and France have strong traditions in pole vaulting, great history, especially France.
Yeah. And then were there, I mean, Bubka was the guy when I came on the scene in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So, and he was the GOAT up until recently when Mondo started winning. Was there a lineage of great Russians prior to him, or was he the first giant successful?
Yes, there were some great Russians at the time, but he was young and he was the first one brought up by Petrov.
Yeah.
And so when he was unveiled in '83 at the World Championships wearing the striped socks, nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
And he beat everybody.
And then we all started wearing striped socks.
Well, we started saying, wait a minute, what is going on in this jump? Because it was dramatically different
Dramatically.
than everybody else. Volkov was a little bit close. Some of the earlier vaulters in 70s. Shale Isaacson from Sweden.
You gave me
exactly.
What do you call that thing?
It's a sequence.
A sequence of him. Yeah, that was cool.
And so they were great vaulters, but when Bubka came by, he was doing stuff that no one had ever seen before.
And what was that?
He used a lot of gymnastics in his training,
Okay.
and that made his techniques in the air look totally different. It's very much like the story that I tell about my dentist, Fred Hansen.
Fred Hansen, yeah.
Who was my dentist for 25 years, has an Olympic gold medal in 1964. Well, when he was coming up, the guy that was breaking the world records from Washington was Brian Sternberg. Brian Sternberg was setting world records almost every weekend. It was amazing. He was jumping around 16.6, 16.10. on fiberglass, but
Wow.
swinging like Bubka.
Okay.
And so Fred went out and spent time with Sternberg to learn his program, and then came back to Rice and built a back gym there. They put all kinds of gymnastics apparatus, and that's what Fred started doing to train his jumping, and he ended up breaking a world record doing that. Brian Sternberg, unfortunately, had a horrible trampoline accident after he had set a world record, and he broke his neck and quadriplegic.
Oh, terrible, man.
Paraplegic for the rest of his life. And I'm so pleased to say that I had the great privilege to meet him for coffee in Seattle at his home.
Oh, cool.
We went to a meet at UW, and I had a little extra time, so I called him up. I'll come on over.
Oh, nice.
And so I go sit on the edge of his bed and show him film, and we're talking about technique, and he's getting all excited, and we're just everything else. And then and we had coffee with his family. It was very special. Yeah.
There's a common theme I'm hearing with you. In high school, you were writing people letters and calling them up, and then later in life, you're calling people up and moving around. I mean, you've never been afraid to reach out and introduce yourself and to see if you can connect and learn from folks.
Well, a good educator is always a seeker of knowledge.
Okay.
And just when you think you know it all,
Yeah.
you're going to find out something else
Yeah.
that you don't know,
Yeah.
or you need to get better at.
Yeah.
And I've always realized that if I don't continually morph into a better educator, I'm just going to get stuck right there, and everybody's going to pass you by. You have to continually push. Rock and roll singer. I'm not gonna forget it. The guy with how he's dressed up in women's clothes and crazy hair.
Prince? No.
No, not Prince. Before Prince, yes.
Not Aerosmith. Devin, who is it, Devin? Come on.
I wish I could tell you guys. I don't know.
Had two different color eyes. Oh, I know it. I'm going to think of it
Okay.
and go back to it.
Okay, it'll come to you in a second.
God, but he talks about creativity,
Okay.
and he says, you need to be as if you're in the water and you're going deeper and deeper and deeper, and then your toes are just barely touching the sand, and you're barely being able to breathe, and that's where you need to be when you're trying to do your best creating. And to me, I think it means that you've got to push yourself to be on that very edge and that's when you're going to do your best work. And I think you have to, as an athlete, as a coach, you've got to always push yourself to always seek a little bit more, a little bit,
So let me ask you this. I think about this a lot as a coach too. So for me, it's sort of two buckets. There's a technical bucket, like I need to seek more knowledge of the sport and technique and get better at the techniques of the sport. For me, it's jiu-jitsu, right? And then there's another bucket, my ability to communicate to the athletes in a way in which they're going to understand and take action, right? Do you look at it like that as well as an educator?
Well, I used to be very dictatorship kind of guy. I'm going to tell you what to do and you do it.
Okay.
And then through the years and the experience, realize that I push the technique because I know it's the best technique to really push.
Yes.
But there's going to come to a point where that athlete may not be able to change something. So, example, national champion Jason Colwick for Rice in 2008 or 9, freshman year went 16 feet. And then I went to Petrov, and Jason used to have a very, very rough takeoff, a very off-balance takeoff where he leaned forward and then he swung two-legged. So he did things that nobody else was doing at the time. And I showed it to Petrov, and he goes, "That's not important. Improve pull drop, improve posture, improve jump. Improve jump, hips, go." So what he was saying was that if I improved his pole drop so that he was more upright at takeoff, then his hips would go up instead of forward or down. And then the pole would move better and he should jump higher. So he went from 16.6 in high school to jumping 18.3 as a sophomore and jumping 18.10 as a junior and a senior. All from just fixing the way you carry the pole, the way we looked at it. So instead of trying to change his two-legged swing and to force him to do what everybody else was doing, we just didn't change that. We just made it better. we just
Interesting.
allowed something that he did naturally, and we just changed other things to make that even better.
You didn't try to turn him into the textbook Buka looking jump. You said, okay, this is what you do. Let's just take what you do and make it better.
Exactly.
And do you find the difference between, a high school athlete, a college athlete, a pro athlete, an Olympic athlete? How important is coachability and the athlete's ability to listen to what you're saying and do it?
Well, middle school kids are extremely immature.
Okay.
So when they're trying to improve technique, it'll take them 50, 60, 80 times of failures
Okay.
until they start to get it, because their brain, they're very immature.
Just hasn't developed yet.
Now, these kids get a little older in high school, all of a sudden they're starting to make changes quicker because they're starting to understand things. They've put the practice in, they've done the reps, and then things start happening. When you get a kid that is in college, they should be able to start to bloom and improve inches, even close to a foot each year if they can. As far as, I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think it's related to an athlete's maturity,
Based on age.
mental and
Yeah.
age,
Yeah.
and then also their ability to make change, because a lot of people can't change. They just do what they learned initially, and then that's all they can do.
Would you rather have an athlete that comes to you that's been jumping for, 5 years, or somebody
I'd
that's
much rather
brand
have
new?
an athlete that never done it before,
Yeah.
where you could teach them the right things.
Same.
The worst thing about I have people flying in from all over the world
Yeah.
to do training camps, and they've already got what they do, and it's very difficult because very few athletes are kinesthetically a quick changer. They don't have the ability to make that change in a moment. Most of them, they have to hammer away at it and they're trying to get that change and trying to get it to be a part of their natural way of doing what they do. So some people are quick learners kinesthetically, where they can change right now, boom, right away.
And that's just a gift you're born with.
That's a gift you're born with, and along with your maturity or whatever. And there are others that couldn't do it right. It'd take you 50 times to get it right.
Yeah. And those are the ones that I think often get mislabeled as jerks or not listening, or, but really what I'm getting out of this conversation is it might just be somebody that can make those adjustments is just genetically born with that ability. Like, Michael Jordan's ability to play basketball, he's born with. Yeah, he got better at it and honed it. But if someone's slow to make change, it could just be the way their brain works and not they're being stubborn.
And the instructor, the coach, has to be patient to allow them to have time, because, it's fun to coach the quick learners.
Yeah.
Oh boy, they're getting better. But the ones that are struggling,
Yeah.
you have to find a way. You have to adapt or improvise, like the old Clint Eastwood movie. He's a Marine drill sergeant. You have to improvise, adapt, make my day.
I love it.
But you have to be able to adapt as a coach. You can't be totally short-sighted and just say, I'm only going to sit here, because nobody's the same.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And what tips do you have? Like, how do you, if someone is a slow learner, adjuster, do you encourage them? Do you make jokes? Like, how do you, keep them moving?
Well, you make it very clear to them that failure is a good thing.
Okay.
And in sport, failure is the key to success.
Okay.
If you hammer away at something and you fail and fail and fail, and then you start to be that new thing, that was better. And then that becomes the new habit. It's the failure that takes you there.
Yep.
You have to struggle and fail.
Yeah.
And these days, we have a lot of children that were never every time they failed, everything was already fixed and taken care of, so they were happy.
Yeah, right.
And so failure, oh no, well, failure. But you have to embrace failing to become great. You have to be able to fail and then put it away and move on to make it become, the word with an S on it, success.
And
Yeah.
okay, I love that. So with the kids you mentioned, I see it too, and totally agree. How do you take a kid that doesn't understand the concept of failure being a pathway to success? What age do you start coaching kids?
I have kids that come over 10 years old.
Yeah.
I've worked with masters competitors that have been over 80.
Okay, so from 10 to 80, you've seen them all.
Seen them all.
And you were a middle school teacher for a lot of years too,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
you had a
I
lot
was
of
in elementary and middle school.
elementary and middle school.
Taught elementary PE, then I taught art in middle school.
So 50, you've been educating for 50-ish years. That's pretty
Long
solid.
time, man.
That's pretty solid. Well, that's what we're looking
Yeah.
for. We like people
Yeah.
with wisdom,
Let's not laugh too hard about the age thing. Yeah, I'm having trouble getting older. Let me tell you.
Oh
Yeah.
man, getting old is not for wimps, is what they say.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I went home a year ago to my hometown.
Okay.
I've not been back in a long time.
Okay.
And so I flew home to do a book signing at the library. Figured a bunch of ex-vaulters would come over and it'd be just great. And nobody came.
Oh,
They
bummer.
wrote a big one-page article in the newspaper about me. Nobody came.
Oh.
But an old 94-year-old man who jumped with Warmerdam on bamboo came and bought my book and sat there and talked for hours. And my
better.
best friend, Jim B. Miller, who coached an Olympic champion, drove from Knoxville to hang out.
Yeah.
You know.
That was probably
So
better
it was
than-
really
than the-
special. But
yeah.
I went to, I got in touch with some old high school friends that I've not talked to since high school, 1972.
Yeah.
And then there was a big party with one of my best friends. They were married. They've been married for 50 years or whatever it was. It might be longer. And so I went to that. Excuse me. And there are a lot of guys that are my age in my class that really look unhealthy. And life has just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Walkers, canes,
Wow.
bent over, limping, the whole nine wax. And I just looked at that and I just said, okay, that's it. And so I train every day. Every time I walk through my walkway, I do pull-ups. And go to the bathroom, do 4 pull-ups, come back. I'm doing yoga every day. I do ballet bar work every day. I do dumbbells every day, unless if I go on a long bike ride.
And you're still riding the bike a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I refuse to, what I'm saying is that I want to live my last years of my life fit and
Yeah.
active and enjoy it. Not
Yeah.
sit around in a chair and think about what I used to do and then cry about how I feel. Oh, I have to go to another doctor's appointment. Not me. No.
I love it, man.
So,
I love it. Well, you've always been mostly, even just being on the track every day from 3 p.m. to sunset, that's an active life as well. At least half of your day, you're out there sweating in the Texas summer heat.
well, I'm very fortunate. I stopped drinking 35 years ago.
Okay.
No alcohol.
Okay.
No drugs, right? I eat kind of healthy, but it's okay. But I've decided that you got to move.
You got to move.
You got to move,
Yeah.
and you got to move every day.
Yeah.
In Japan, I was watching TV and was over there speaking at a pole vault clinic in Takamatsu, and I was watching TV, and there's all these little news things about these elderly people working at this job or making sushi over here or planning this or whatever. And I asked Hiro, as my host, oh, well, when people retire in Japan, they might take a little bit of time off, then they go and get another job. But it's usually service-oriented where you're helping someone. So you'll see old people out there cleaning the streets, or other old people out here doing this. And I think it's quite beautiful because if we keep moving and working and doing what we love, well, that's what you want to do in life. Why why retire?
Yeah.
If you retire, well, I don't want to quit anything. I don't want to stop because that's what's kept me, you know.
Yeah. Kept you. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think it's a beautiful thing that, you know,
I think so too. Even in the business world, I see
fuck
guys.
retirement.
I love it. I see guys in their 65 to 75 years old that retire in business, and that's their peak. That's when they know everybody. That's when they have the wisdom. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man, keep going.
Now, wait, Frost, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So Jiu-Jitsu is Japanese, which is my favorite place in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did the Brazilians figure out what the Japanese were doing? What's that all about?
History lesson. So if you think about the samurai way back in the day,
Yes.
everybody, relates to them as one of the best, fighting cultures that has ever lived on the planet, right? And as far as hand-to-hand combat goes. And a lot of their training, they had training systems built on how to fight off of a horse, how to fight with a sword, how to fight with a staff, how to fight with various weapons, and then the hand-to-hand combat, right? So that was very prevalent in their culture. And then as the samurai started to go away, the traditions became, people still wanted to carry on those fighting styles, but the violence that if you train enough sword fighting, you're going to lose a limb one day, right? I mean, accidents happen. And so they tried to come up with a system that people could train in a way that they wouldn't be messed up, right? Which developed into judo and jiu-jitsu. Okay, so judo is mostly throwing people onto the ground, like wrestling.
Right.
And then jiu-jitsu is sort of what happens once they hit the ground. All right. And then after World War II, or no, I think it was before World War II, there was a Japanese guy that went to Brazil. There's a ton of Japanese that live in Brazil. And he trained at this place called the Kodokan, which is one of Japan's oldest judo, jiu-jitsu places. And he trained a group of folks called the Gracies, the Gracie family, and how to do these styles of martial arts. And the Brazilians, as the story goes, were not as strong. These Japanese dudes were like great shape, been doing this for generations. These Brazilians couldn't beat them force on force. And so they, in the Brazilian culture itself, is very, hey man, what's happening? It's just not as formal as a Korean or Japanese culture. And so they put their own goofy twists on some of these moves and started adapting them, and then ended up creating something that is much more proficient than the very structured way. Like fighting is a series of events that unfolds. It's its own thing. It doesn't always go
It's
one.
constantly morphing.
Yes, it doesn't go 1, 2, 3,
Right,
4. So
right.
they introduced what they call rolling or flowing versus, okay, block, do this, do that. It was much less rigid. Hey, you developed it like your example with your pole vaulter. Hey, this is the way you do that? Cool. Do it your way and get better at it your way, right? And so the Brazilians became the best at that, and then started moving to the U.S. in the 90s with a plan to have jiu-jitsu go global, and it worked. I mean, now you can go to any major city in the world, and there's multiple jiu-jitsu places. And when I first started training in 97, there was one place here in Houston to train. My coach, Eric, was not even a black belt yet. And now there's, I don't know, 500, 1,000 black belts here in Houston,
Absolutely amazing.
It really took off. And one of the things I really love about it is it's one of the few sports, even if you compare it to other combat sports like wrestling or boxing, like you can lose a wrestling match, you can lose a boxing match, but in jiu-jitsu, you have to give up. So if someone's about to break my arm, I tap out, I give up. If someone's choking me unconscious, okay, I tap out before I give up. And it kills the ego.
That's very interesting.
Right.
I did not know that.
Right.
I did not
So
know
if you
that.
take a kid that's a little cocky and you put him in jiu-jitsu and I got choked. I got choked. Okay, I give up. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. They do that enough, it starts to gel them out for the rest of their life and every other area of their life, which is really cool. That's one of the reasons I like it. We teach Brazilian jiu-jitsu, wrestling, a bunch of different styles of martial arts, but jiu-jitsu is my favorite, I think, simply because of that.
Oh, that's really, I did not know that. Did not. There's so many beautiful things that come from Japanese culture.
Yeah.
I've been to Japan 4 times.
Okay.
2 times for clinics and 2 times for art. And it makes, I always want to go back, always want to go back. You know, where the first Buddhists came to Japan was in Kamakura. And in Kamakura, it has a very, very large Buddha that's made out of bronze. It's like built in 1500. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely beautiful. And it's a very spiritual place. It's just incredible. You know, I'll tell you a real quick funny story. It has nothing to do with what we're doing, but one year, the Olympic coach, Coach Hirota, invited me to come over and do a clinic in Mito. And then he knew that I was Buddhist. And he said, okay, I meet you tomorrow morning, 4 o'clock. Okay. We're doing translation because he didn't speak English. We spoke Pole Valdese.
Okay.
But we didn't speak it. So we get on the bullet train. We head past Yokoyama. We go to Kamakura. We get out before we get to Kamakura. And you walk up this mountain. And there's like a 4,000-year-old monastery up there, a temple for Zen Buddhists. And we go and meditate with the headmaster, Zen master. So there's a square of about 50 monks and normal people in there. And I'm the American dumbass.
Yeah.
You know, can't bend my knees the right way and everything else. We sit down, I'm sitting there, we're meditating, they're chanting. And then I open my eyes because I hear this, wutcha, wutcha. He's taking this bamboo stick that's been split and he's hitting the people that bow right across the back twice.
Okay.
Now it's to get rid of evil spirits. It's
Okay.
symbolic.
Okay.
But, you know, you had to bow and they go, wutcha, wutcha, and just haul off and just beat the, you know, and I'm going, wait a minute, this guy's not being. So Coach Hirota bowed, the master on the back, and then he came to me, and I just went, like with my head, and he understood totally, and he went right past me. When we got out, Coach Hirota was laughing so hard because, you know, I wanted the meditation, but I didn't want to get whipped.
Yeah.
So maybe not all the evil spirits have left me yet.
Hey, there's still hope, man. You can always go back. Wow.
No, Japan is a very special place. I love it. I feel it's one of the places in the world where I feel I have been there before.
Yeah.
That I feel at home. It's amazing.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that before. In a past life or something. That's where they Patton, right? Patton always talked about that. I love hearing those stories. That's pretty cool. Okay, so in that same vein, I remember in the mid '90s, you would on the rainy days at the track take us into the coach's office. You'd show us film, say close your eyes, visualize, watch yourself doing that jump. That's you doing that jump. You know, when did sort of the sports psychology, visualization, how did you come across all that?
You know, it was connected to a discus thrower I had at the time, Mandy Sheffman.
Yeah.
So Mandy was extremely talented.
Yeah.
She was a gymnast.
Mm-hmm.
So she really responded to coaching, and so she started improving very fast. So we would go to a meet, and she would throw 150 in warm-up, which is like school record, state ranked, that kind of thing. And then in the meet, throw 120. Well, because she would tense up and try or whatever she was doing. I didn't understand at the time. I'm just going, why can't you? Come on, you know.
Yeah.
So got in touch through a friend of a friend, got in touch with Dr. Bill Wade, who is a sports psychologist.
Okay.
And I call him my voodoo doctor.
Okay.
Because he puts you under, hypnotizes you. And people freak out about hypnotism. It is not, you're watching a thing and all of a sudden people can make you do things you don't want to do. What it is enhanced visualization.
Okay.
It's visualization 6.0. It is being able to get in touch and to really see and feel what you're doing within your mind.
Okay.
So Mandy met with Dr. Wade twice.
Okay.
And through 155 won the state. It's nationally ranked, earned a scholarship to University of Arizona, and ended up having a great, great career. Well, it's Dr. Wade that really made me start to pay attention to the mental side more than the brute force, just fight your way through it. Because my whole upbringing as a child was fight all the time, always getting beat up, always getting. So I learned that, well, I'm going to fight if you just press harder and try harder. No, you try harder, you fail. So the visualization came really from Dr. Wade and teaching me that the mind is an extremely powerful thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I always look at it. People say, you know, what percentage, pick a sport, you know, baseball, what percentage is it mental? What percentage is it physical? And the trick question, the answer is it's 100% mental and 100% physical. Like you have every sport, you've got to train both, right? So what practices, you know, meditation, is there anything that you advise athletes to do to work on their mental game?
You bring up meditation. Okay, so this is a whole nother story.
Yes. We like stories.
My first few years at Rice, I began to study Buddhism. I'm really not sure why. I just started studying it. It might have been that I went to Asia, one of those trips or whatever, but just started studying Buddhism. And the Dalai Lama came to Rice to speak.
Okay.
Now, the Dalai Lama is the greatest leader for Buddhists in the world from Tibet. And so the coaches, as a gift, got me VIP passes in the front row.
Oh, cool.
So I am 20 feet away from one of the greatest spiritual leaders in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sitting there and hearing him talk and hearing him speak, and I'm being hit with these waves like compassion or goodness, or like a fan that's oscillating, and I'm being, and this feeling of just, I really can't explain it.
Okay.
It was powerful.
Okay.
And I just left there going, oh my God, what was that? So fast forward many years later.
Yeah.
I'm in Thailand.
Okay.
And we're going to carry supplies to this mountaintop temple to meet one of the oldest monks in that area of Thailand, northeast Thailand. Excuse me. So we're carrying bottles of water and snacks and things that they can have. And we go in there, we unload this stuff, and then I want you to go in and meet the monk. He knows you're coming.
Ah.
I said, what? Well, he dreamt of you the other night, and he knew that you were going to be there. Right. Sure. Of course. Yeah. So I walk in. The monk, who is 90 some years old, starts getting really animated, takes my hands, and then he starts chanting. So I close my eyes and he's chanting, and the same rush of this goodness or spirit or compassion or whatever you want to call it is going through me like waves, like wind hitting me in the face.
Wow.
And so he made me a bracelet, and I wore that bracelet till it fell off. And I left there, and then I asked my friend, he goes, what were you saying? He goes, he dreamt that you were coming. Not just any person, me. He knew I was coming to that mountaintop to meditate with him. Now I know it's wild, but that's twice that I've experienced that.
Okay.
So that made me really start to study and everything else. Now, in the past couple of years, past year, I've decided I'm getting old. I want to improve myself and keep getting better and have a great last 10 or whatever years or last day if I kick the bucket tomorrow. So I started meditating more often, and it became a daily thing. And then it became an hourly thing where I'd be driving and I breathe and I just stay calm and I just drive. Or I've found that I can meditate at any time, at any given time. I can just take a couple of breaths and clear my mind. Well, the more clear my mind has gotten, the more old memories and dreams and thoughts and creativity is just exploded out of my mind in the past 6 months than ever before. It is powerful and profound because my nature is I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
Because that's what I learned to survive is I'm going to fight and get mad, or I'm going to worry about something.
Yeah.
and just worry, worry, worry.
Yeah.
Well, with meditation, which is basically enhanced visualization
Right.
without visualizing, because you're trying to be clear and mindful, but with mindfulness and meditation, I'm not the wild and crazy dumbass that's walking around mad about everything and cussing about this and always. I'm actually not angry. I'm not worried about tomorrow. I'm not having anxiety about what I'm going to do. I'm staying in the now. My moment right now is with Frost Murphy,
Yeah.
having a good old talk about sports and life.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about what I'm going to do after. I'm not worried about what I did yesterday. I'm staying here. And when you do that, it gets your brain to just release its power.
That's cool, man.
Now, I don't even understand what the hell I'm doing. I'm meeting with a Zen master next week. And but they told me when I talked to somebody on the phone, they said, well, you're just on your way to enlightenment.
Okay.
When enlightenment basically is this new consciousness, you know.
Yes.
And, anyway, it's hard to explain. I don't even understand it, but I do understand this. Meditation is absolutely crucial if you can get somebody to do it. So some of my athletes, you know, a couple of years ago, meditate for 1 minute before we jump.
Okay.
I didn't think the kids liked it at first until we'd go to meets and they're over there getting their 1 minute in, but the minute is extended into 5 minutes. Sometimes I have to say, you gonna warm up?
Yeah.
It really made a change with the kids and the way they are able to execute practice after that. I really saw changes in what they were doing. It's hard to explain, but meditation's become a very, very important part of my life. And
That's awesome.
and if you do it, if you learn to do it, it is, you know, it's not religious. It's not, anyone can meditate.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Do you think it's a, if for someone new getting into it, okay, if I had an hour tonight to meditate, or would you say, hey, just take 2 minutes 5 times throughout the day?
Well, just 5 minutes. Here's what you do.
Yeah.
Just get comfortable.
Yep.
Just sit down. Close your eyes. You put headphones on and put really soft music on. You can just be silent.
Yeah.
And just close your eyes and breathe. But focus on your breathing only.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking breaths and you're just focusing on the breathing. When a thought comes in, when a memory comes in, you just play with it a little bit, but let it go back out. Let it go. And you get back to the breathing.
Mm-hmm.
As you become more experienced and more mindful, you go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to not think about the breathing. You get empty and clear. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You're letting the mind have a nice day off. So you take all that bullshit and that stuff that's happening in your mind, and all of a sudden it's not there anymore. That mind is starting to work the way it was supposed to work.
Yeah.
Highly creative, very emotional. I watch a movie that I haven't seen in 20 years and I'm crying at a part that I didn't notice before.
Wow.
Watch old Japanese film. I love old Japanese samurai films.
Yeah.
Watch The Throne of Blood, and at the end they have these trees waving in the wind. I cried like a baby.
That's awesome.
I'm dancing in my apartment. I'm singing along with music. When I play the music, I can almost flow the movements. I'm cooking in the kitchen, and I'm not dropping anything. I'm not rushing around. I just slow time down, and it all becomes flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not thinking. So it is profound.
Yeah.
And if I would have, if I have a world class, if I had an Olympian, now I'll tell you a story about my Olympian in a second, but if
Yeah.
I had an Olympian, the first thing I'd want them to do is we wouldn't talk about pole vaulting and talk about the mind and where they're at. Find out where they're at, why they're doing something, where do they learn, what have been your negatives, what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths. Talk about how do you handle failure, how do you handle success, all that stuff before you even get started with all the rest of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially with a sport like, well, basically any track event. you're the only one out there. You're the only one on. There's other people on the track team, but in basketball, there's other guys on the court with you. But in the world of track and field, it's all on you.
Well, it's you in Brazilian jiu-jitsu too. It's that's the beauty of an individual sport. I think that this country is addicted to team sports. Everything's got to be with a ball. And everybody's got to specialize and do everything all the time because then they'll be great. And it's not true. All the studies show that if you do 7 different sports each week, or 5 different sports each week, then when you decide to do the one you really love, you're accelerating your learning much, much faster than if you just specialized. When kids come out to me with a clear slate, I can get them to improve a lot faster than the kids that have jumped every day or jumped too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes you overdo the thing and then it becomes nothing. It ends up you can't get better because all you've done is that. You can't make any changes at all. You can't morph into the next level, the next,
So I've seen you even promote that with your pro athletes. One of your athletes will come and do jiu-jitsu with us or do kickboxing with us. You still encourage athletes at a high level to do multiple things.
Yeah, it can't be one thing. This country's making a mistake having club sports where everybody does everything all year round and they're going to competitions all year round. What it should be is the kids should do the old-fashioned, they're going to do a sport in the fall, a sport in the winter, and a sport in the spring. And then in the summer, they do everything they can possibly do to move.
Yeah.
Then you become better. What was the country, was it Denmark years ago that broke all the records, beating everybody at a Winter Olympics? And when they asked why they had so much success, they had a documentary about their program, and it basically is what I'm talking about. The kids are encouraged to do very, very many different ways, many different sports, many different movements, free play, all kinds of stuff. And then as they get a little older and more mature, then they start to specialize, and that's where they just explode.
That's pretty cool. I attribute a lot of my success in jiu-jitsu to you as a track coach and to even the pole vault.
Really?
On the mat, I'm known for being wiry and being able to hit some positions that a lot of people can't do that are, very similar to gymnastic or pole vault type position, upside down, inverted stuff, right? And then I felt like I had a major advantage coming into jiu-jitsu, which was a brand new thing in the 90s. And in a competition, one of the things I always remember and loved about you was, we had to have our vault bag, and inside that vault bag was chalk, was tape, was a tape measure, was water, was a snack, was your journal. And I felt I had been coached at a world-class level in high school and was able to
when I didn't know what I
when
was doing.
you didn't know what you were doing. But even the visualization, I would lay in bed at night and do the same thing that you taught me on the track, and I would do that in the jiu-jitsu world. Okay, this guy got me with that. How am I going to beat him next time? I would visualize. I'd show up prepared. Other guys at the track meet and a jiu-jitsu tournament are very similar in that they're both, if you don't know the people in them, they're kind of boring to watch, right? And they can take all day. And so, you think you're going to go at 10 a.m. and it might be 2 p.m. and you're still waiting around for your match. And so I'm good. I've been to track meets. I know there's weather delays. I know, you know what I mean? And I know how to communicate. Hey, what's up, friends? And I know how to keep myself entertained, and I know when I should get warmed up an hour before I'm out there. I'd still jog 2 laps and go through my track routine, prior to getting on the mat. And so having all of that, which came from another sport that I mapped into my new sport, is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's very true. I mentioned Olympian. Let me see. Before Tokyo, what Olympics was that? It was 20. It was the COVID, so it was the 21 Olympic Games.
It was 2020, right? Aren't they every
2020? Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had to.
They pushed it back.
Yeah. So Morgan Lella from New Iberia, Louisiana, contacted me at the pole vault summit. Her and her dad walked up to me and said, "Well, hi, I'm Morgan." I'd known her for years, had seen her jump, and we need your help. We want you to work with her to get ready to try and make an Olympic team because she was 4th place at the last Olympic trials in 18.
Yeah.
So when you're 4th place at Olympic trials in track and field, you're a dog. You feel worse than everybody.
Yeah.
Because you're the one that didn't make it.
Yeah.
5th place, who cares?
You're right.
So long story short, we worked a lot on the mental side. Technical side, of course, but the mental side. Now, fast forward to the Olympic trials. She's in Oregon. I'm sitting at home in front of my TV. She calls, and night before the Olympic prelim or final. And, all right, what do I need to do, coach? And I said, Morgan, I want you to sit on that bench, and I want you to take deep breaths and just breathe and look around that stadium and say, you have earned the right to be here. And you just let yourself go. I just want you to breathe and let yourself go. That's all I said to her. She hung up. Next day, she jumps a PR 15.6, beats 2 Olympians, and makes the team. That night, she calls me. Coach, and she's screaming at the top of her lungs.
Yeah.
I breathed. I kid you not. I breathed. So there's great power that we have not even touched between the ears.
Yeah.
And we've got to remember, and I guess I learned that from a great guy, Dr. Wade, way back in high school, that we got to train the brain too. And then the body will hopefully come along and stay healthy enough to be able to not get injured and be able to make it.
I love that. So as far as training the brain, we talked meditation, and I guess it would vary. Every athlete could benefit from meditation. And then I would say some guys need to toughen up and some guys need to chill out, right? There's kind of a pendulum there. Any best practices, any other tips that you do if you see the guy that needs to toughen up, and how do you coach him?
Well, I use toughen up as fear. I think that's someone that's afraid.
Oh.
And it's hard to coach fear.
Oh, okay.
But I'll give you an example. When I was in college, I was a walk-on at Ball State University. My PR was 12 feet out of high school. Mm-hmm. The coach laughed when I wanted to be on the team, but he let me on the team. He said, but you can't be in a meet until you jump 14 feet. Well, my freshman year, I took off under and landed on my head on the ground and got scared. Couldn't take off. Run through itis. Everybody calls it the yips.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I was taking a gymnastics class, and the head coach said, I told him what was going on. He goes, I'll tell you what, I'm going to talk to the coach. I want you to start coming to men's gymnastics practice. We had a gymnastics team, a men's team at Ball State.
Okay.
This is 1970s. We're very unusual.
Yeah.
So I stopped going to track and field practice, went to gymnastics. And I'm throwing all kinds of stuff that I'm scared to death to do. I'm throwing front handsprings, back handsprings, full giants on the high bar, parallel bar, handstand, pirouette, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Falling down, failing, but all of a sudden I'm going, oh, I did it. Uh-huh. So when I started pole vaulting months later, I wasn't afraid anymore.
Interesting.
So I think someone that's afraid, you have to get them to get out of themselves and to do fear-evoking things to get them to understand that it's not so scary anymore. At the elementary school, I used to teach in Spring Branch. We had a natatorium there that all the 5th graders or 6th graders used to go for a couple weeks of swimming.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I went on and act like I was afraid to dive. Every day we went to swim, I would not dive off the high dive. I'd go up there and act like I would go, and the kids would scream, and then I would back down and go right back down the steps. I would not do it for all those weeks.
This was a comedy routine you would do?
Comedy routine.
Okay.
Then on the last day of swimming, one or two kids will say, are you going to go up and dive? Okay, I'm going to go up. So I go up there acting like I'm Buster Keaton. I'm shaking and my knees are shaking. The kids are roaring. And then all of a sudden, boom, I went up to a handstand. I do a one-arm handstand, and then I wave, and then I do a dive
Oh, how funny.
right off the high dive. Because I love diving. I've been diving all over,
Yeah.
Well, it just freaked the kids out.
That's hysterical.
Because they go, oh, he's not afraid anymore. And we cheered loud enough to get him to not be afraid. And that was just a total act. So yeah.
Finding those little opportunities to have somebody get confidence, really.
It's confidence, but also to understand that you're not going to get as hurt as you think you are. The other night, one of the kids landed on the ground, came
Okay.
up short, wasn't going to make the pit, got rejected about 20 feet out, did a roll, and stood up. I go, there you go. That wasn't bad at all, was it? Get back on the runway. Let's see if you can really vault. And then I get right back on the runway. Boom. You're not
Nice.
afraid anymore.
Nice.
So it's, if you're afraid of one particular thing, pole vaulting, go fence or go do Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're going, oh, shoot, man, that's just a hangnail. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the pool. I lasted a semester at Texas Tech on the track team, pole vaulting, before I got into jiu-jitsu hardcore. And the first week of track practice, the coach took us to the natatorium at Tech, said, everybody on the high dive, everybody's doing a backflip or you're off the track team. And by the end of that practice, everybody did a backflip. I mean, we started, in the low dive, and he coached us, and he said, we're getting over any fears you guys have. I thought that was kind of intense, but cool. Now I can do backflips,
You just have to push through your own doubt
Yeah.
some way. And that's our job as coaches, is to find different ways to push through your own self-doubt and lack of self-confidence.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Coaching men versus coaching women. Any difference in your approach?
It's not so much women and men is more of a human being.
Okay.
A few years ago, I did something that I really hope that I can do again when I get more recruits. I took each athlete and we just went and met for coffee. And we didn't talk about pole vaulting
Okay.
at all. I think it was one of the best things I've ever done. It just allows the kids to tell me a little bit about them.
Okay.
So, I think that's very valuable, to just get away from the sport, get away from where you're at, and go somewhere and just talk. Or even if you're walking at a state park or something, but just get out where you can get a little bit of what makes them tick.
I love it.
Find out where they're at, what's going on. One of my former athletes was holed up in his room and wouldn't leave and disappeared from practice. And when I finally got him to open his door, after 10 phone calls and them getting the key to open the door, realized that he was very depressed and very wanted to quit. Mm-hmm. Not just quit pole vaulting, but quit school.
Wow.
Got him some help.
Mm-hmm.
And he was open to it. We talked about Dr. Wade.
Yeah.
And then he just shined. He just flew. So it's good to know a little bit. I don't like to get in the kids' personal lives. That's their thing.
Okay.
I stay out of all that.
So
I
there's some
don't
boundaries
follow
there.
them on social media. I don't want to know what they do.
Okay.
I don't want to know what party they went to on Friday night and got hammered.
Yeah.
I don't need to know any of that.
Yeah.
But I do want to know a little bit about what makes them tick and where they're at. And that's good to do every year, every other year. Kind of find out where everybody's at. Just have a little talk, or just kind of find out. Just prove to them that you're human too, not just this, coach that's telling them what to do every day.
I love that. And then how about high pressure situations? I mean, for me, track in general, but the pole vault where you are, it's all on you. Everybody's watching you. There's even people clapping while you're running down the runway, usually towards the end of the meets. What advice do you have for an athlete in one of those high pressure situations?
Well, first of all, you're not thinking, and you're not going to try. You're just going to do.
Okay.
I'll give you a story that's in my book. I had an athlete at Rice that had tremendous potential but could never figure it out. Just couldn't figure out pole vaulting. So she's a senior. and we're in the fall, and she got there early, so we started doing a just one-on-one session, which was another valuable thing. Get rid of everybody else, just do one-on-one. Excuse me. And I said, okay, what are you thinking about? Well, I'm thinking about my plant, I'm thinking about my pole drop, and I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about that. And all of a sudden I realized, my God, she's thinking about all this stuff, then she's trying to execute. You can't execute when your mind is running on all this little parts. I said, when you go back to the runway, I'm gonna put the bar up, and I want you on this time to think of something totally random that has nothing to do with pole vaulting, and then go. Comes down, clears the bar by 3 feet. It was awesome. What were you thinking about? I was thinking of my socks. She's wearing some like funky looking SpongeBob socks or whatever. Okay, next one. Next jump, higher bar. What do you think about that time? Well, I could hear Coach such and such's voice over here. And then I went. Another one, she heard a bird sing. So she just cleared close to her PR in practice and had no misses, one after another, when she started thinking of random thoughts that had nothing to do with what you're going to do.
It's like the opposite of focus, sort of.
No, it's the essence of focus.
Essence of focus.
Get all the rest of all this bullshit you got flying around in your brain.
Yeah.
And just let yourself go. Let yourself flow.
Yeah.
Right? I'll give you a story about me. My PR in college was 14.6. My senior year, I no-heighted in every meet, outdoor. I was getting better. I broke 4 poles. They ordered me 1 new pole. I couldn't get on it. I'd land on the ground every time. Could never get on it. So all season, my teammates are beating me. I'm no-heighting. I'm on too light of poles. I'm either no-heighting or clearing a low bar. I go to my last collegiate meet. I know that before that, I was visualizing all night and looking at the mechanics of the pole vault all day, and it just pole vault, and I'm just overthinking to the point by the time I got to a meet, I was tired of pole vaulting.
Yeah.
I was sick of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it, and then I would fail. So my last meet, Notre Dame, Indiana, Ball State, I decided, that's it, I give up. I'm just going to go to the meet. I'm just going to pole vault. I don't care how well I do. I've had it. What I got to lose. I go to the meet. I PR by a foot, break the school record.
No height all season long.
No height all season long. And 3 weeks before that, I had a fencing accident where I almost broke my toe, so I couldn't pole vault either. I had to just cross-train, or whatever we call it, cross-train, but I had to do other things because I was injured. The day before I broke the school record, I rode a 50-mile bike race and placed 4th in the race.
No way.
And then I went out and pole vaulted the next day a foot higher than my PR.
Which makes no sense. No coach would say, go ride your bike 50 miles before.
Well, because I was injured, so I couldn't run, so I went out. I heard there was a race, so I went and rode in it. So there's a very small example when I was stupid and didn't know what I was doing, that if you clear, then your focus is really clear, and you can allow yourself to execute amazing things. I know it's crazy.
That's pretty solid. So these days versus 30 years ago, you're coaching, you seem very calm. You seem, obviously, your technique has improved, and your ability to coach the different, phases of the vault and technical, the pole drop, all that stuff has definitely improved. And then just this mental coaching seems to be really what you've been focusing on these last few years.
Yeah, totally. I mean, everybody knows me as being a Petrovite that, I've studied under Petrov.
Yeah.
And yes, that to me is the basis and the common denominator of what I'm looking for when I have a kid jump.
Yeah.
But I also accept that the kid they're going to be different, and they're going to have differences and things that they can't do and can do. And so I just always allow them to try to be themselves, and at the same time trying to hit some good positions and do some good jumping. But yeah, at this age, at 71 and been coaching I started coaching in 77. I'm just happy to say that I keep learning more each day that I go out to the track. You're always going to learn something new, especially if you're meditating and your mind is free and then being able to accelerate your learning.
That's pretty solid.
So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Bruce Lee had that quote where you pour the glass of water out to refill it up with something new. If you keep pouring water into it, it just keeps spilling over. But you got to pour that glass out, keep filling it back up.
Bruce Lee says some really, really cool things.
Yeah.
The way he looked at it and what he did. There's a lot of beauty in Asian culture.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to being able to spend a lot of time over there and on the other side of the world, and I guess look at things differently. Yeah.
So exciting times in the pole vault in that there's a new world record holder.
Yeah, Mondo.
Hey, he seems like a good candidate to take on the pole vault museum.
It's something I planted in their brain. He would have the clout and the backup to be able to take all. And see, I want to get rid of it now.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep it. I don't want to, they find my dead body, 3 weeks later, and then all my pole vault collection gets, I want to get it to people, start archiving it now. And I tried a few universities, but once you sign it over, it's their property, not mine. Well, I don't want that. It's my property.
We got to tell Mondo, hey, Mondo, if you're listening, dude, you got to take this on.
I don't care. Mondo, Sam Kendricks. Thing. We can have a museum in Sam Kendricks in Oxford, or we could, talk to Renaud Levellini in France and have it over there.
Somebody's got to get that going.
Someone will get it going, and we can have a great place for the collection because I'm letting go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. A little bit more history lesson for me. So Bubka was a world record holder. When did he set his first world record?
I got it. Late 80s.
Late 80s. He started setting records.
Yeah.
And then he was the GOAT until
Renaud Levellini.
Oh, that's right. There was one
Renaud
in between.
came by, everybody goes, hey, look at that guy. He looks like a computer geek. He's about 5'8", something tall. And then he gets on the runway, he looks 6'6". He's just powerful down the runway, just beautiful. And breaks Bubka's world record.
Oh, I forgot about
in
that.
Donetsk.
Yeah.
And our former head coach, Victor Lopez, is right next to him.
Yeah.
And sends me a message, sends me pictures of him with Bubka, which I'm unbelievably jealous.
Yeah.
Because see, I have one of the greatest collections of Bubka film and photos anywhere.
Yeah.
I've only met him once, but I've never met him officially at the Olympic Games in Atlanta in the prelims. I was an athlete steward, and we escorted athletes to go to the bathroom and go on and off the track.
Yeah.
Bubka's brother didn't make the final, and Bubka didn't jump because he had an injured Achilles, so I walked him off the track. And I was almost crying because I've still not seen Sergey jump in person. And then in Germany, about 6 years ago, Petrov comes over to me and says, David, I need 4 more books.
Okay.
4 more books. I need one for Sergey.
Oh, cool.
And I went, oh, okay, I'll get them.
Yeah.
Sergey has one of my books.
Nice.
On his desk.
Nice.
Maxim Tarasov has my book. And when he got my book, he took pictures. He meditates, and he took pictures like he was in a lotus position on the pit, meditating
hysterical.
on my book.
Dude, that's hysterical.
Oh, it's the best. So no, it's fun to see some of these guys, these famous guys, have my book.
That's pretty
in their
cool.
library.
Okay, so and then Mondo, sky, no pun intended, sky's the limit for him, right? I mean, what do you think we'll see? He's what, mid-20s? How old is he?
He's like 25 or 20.
Yeah.
So he's very young.
He's still got a lot of years ahead of him.
He is an outlier that is highly motivated intrinsically. He doesn't care about all the rest of this. He wants to be the greatest that ever touched bamboo.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if he set the world record. He still wants to get better. He has an incredible drive to be great, and he's just a great kid. He's just a great kid, a great guy.
Yeah.
You know, if you try to look at the definition of a champion,
Yeah.
let's face it, he's just one of those that, you know, he's the same kid as he was when he was young. He's just nice kid, not nice kid, but he's amazing, and he's doing what Bubka did many years ago. Bubka raised everybody's level.
Yeah.
You either got better or you quit. And I think everybody's doing that with Mondo. Look at Corrales from Greece. I met his coach in Italy last January. The kid is an incredible talent, doing things very, very well, and he's always right behind Mondo.
Interesting. It's almost like, who was it, Thorpe that did the 4-minute mile? What was the story?
Bannister.
Yeah.
Roger Bannister.
Yeah, broke the 4-minute mile, then everybody else did it after him. So same thing there.
Exactly.
Trailblazer.
Yeah. So.
And then what do you think, you know, I know you don't live in his brain, but what do you think has someone or motivates someone to continue to set new records when you're at the top? You always hear people say, you know, it's hard to stay at the top. Like, how do you keep somebody at the top interested in getting better and staying away from all the stuff that can be distractions?
Well, you just mentioned focus a minute ago.
Yeah.
I just think that when you have this incredible desire to better yourself, you have a focus, and all the rest of the stuff just doesn't matter. You know, nothing's going to get in the way of that focus. And if you watch any documentary on a great ball player, all of them have this not only desire, and it's not coach motivated, it's them. It comes from them. If you've got to want to be great, to be the best you can be. If you're just out there just exercising, having a good time, or someone gave you free lessons or whatever, Brazilian, you know.
Yeah.
But it comes from in here.
Yeah.
Not from a coach
Not from
motivating you, not from watching all the videos and everything else, not from being a member of a club and you're wearing the shirt and looking, hey, look at me. But the essence is, and I think the essence with him is that he has this unbelievable desire to be great, and he's able to focus that into a real fine pinpoint.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, now if people want to come jump with you, or they want their kids to come jump with you, how does that work?
I hold lessons 2 to 3 days a week. Now, when it comes into the summer, it goes less because a lot of people are traveling and the numbers drop off. But when you hit August and September, we start having the groups 3 days a week. They come over, usually Tuesday, Thursday, Sundays. And they can contact me by email or phone number or whatever, and I can put them on the mailing list, and then the kids can join us. We have kids from middle school all the way up to, you know.
And you sort of separate them out. The younger guys come at this time. The pros are
No,
there
not
at
at all.
time.
They all come together.
Oh, get out! So the middle school
everybody
kids get to
together.
see what a professional looks like.
So
that's cool.
So Slink will be jumping and warming up, and they get there to warm up, and they get to see a guy that jumps 18.6 doing some stuff.
That is cool, man.
And it's important.
I remember the first time I went to an all-comers meet at Rice and saw, you know, everybody that was there, and some of the being around on the track, getting sweat on you from some dude running the 100 and whatever, you know what I mean? It was just being a little kid going, oh wow, this is next level. So I think that's so important for young athletes to be able to see up close pros playing.
You know, I was in Wisconsin doing a clinic in the winter in Wisconsin, Madison.
Yeah.
And we're indoors, and I look over, and this guy looks at me, and he goes, I know you. And I said, I know you. And it was the Olympic champion in 1996 in the triple jump. His name was Washington, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, I haven't seen him since the Olympic Games
Yeah.
in 96. And we walk up to each other, and he goes, I know you. And the reason he knows me is because after he won the gold, he comes over to me and he goes, hey, would you take this jar and go fill it up with some sand over there in the long jump pit? I want to keep a little memento.
Oh, that's cool.
So I go take the jar and I hand it to him, and we talk a little bit, say, you know, good job, you win the gold, that was great, you know. All these years later, we're in Madison, Wisconsin, and he's up there coaching and everything else, and he sees me and he recognizes me. And I knew who he was, but I couldn't remember his name. And then we started just laughing when I told the story about the sand. He goes, I remember that. And he was just telling me all these memories he had of winning gold, and it was just so special.
Hey, speaking of jumpers that win in gold, Carl Lewis now here in Houston, coaching at U of H for the last,
Man,
5 or 10
quite
years?
A long time, yeah.
Has that been cool for Houston track and field?
Oh, I think so. Of course, come on. And
Yeah.
everybody needs to shut up and listen to him because he is the man.
Yeah.
And he was amazing. He teases me about my hair because every time I see him, he's got less hair and it's more gray. Mine keeps getting longer and not gray. And so we're in Peru at that meet, one of the international meets, and he comes walking up, he goes, God, doesn't it ever fall out? He said some comment about why does it fall out? He's getting thinner and I'm getting longer. So I don't know what the heck's going on. Might be the meditation. Who knows? Yeah.
That's got to be. Well, that's cool that he jumped into coaching, and they've been pretty successful, huh? U of H?
Oh, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I don't really follow U of H
Yeah.
because I'm an owl.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I'll tell you a little story about Carl. When I first came to Houston, Spring Branch wouldn't allow me to coach
Okay.
because I was an elementary teacher and you can't coach at the high school level. So for 2 years, I didn't coach.
Okay.
I drove out to U of H to shadow Tom Tellez around.
Okay.
It's one of the great icons of all time.
Yeah.
Coaches.
Yeah.
So I followed Tom around, and every once in a while I'd say, hey, take Carl over. He's going to work on his penultimate over there. And I know what I was doing, so Carl would teach me what to watch and listen for. And I'm standing there watching Carl Lewis long jump.
That's awesome.
So the first November rolling around, Thanksgiving came up, and Carl said, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I go, well, my roommates are out of town. I'm not doing anything. I don't know anybody, Come over to the house. So I went to the house for Thanksgiving. We used to do yoga classes. His yoga teacher was an old friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But in '84, I was a volunteer, and Carl gets his first gold. And I'm standing 40 feet away because I'm a security guard. I'm standing up there to keep the crowd back. And he turns around and he goes, Dave, what are you wearing? I go, I know, yeah, right? And then you fast forward to 96. In 96, the 10,000 final was going on. They asked a bunch of us to get with the doctors to be assistants to go and carry the guys that are, dropping left and right, trying to run 10,000 meters in
Yes.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And I'm right with the doctors. We're all sitting there, and Carl wins Olympic gold in a long jump.
Yeah.
He's jogging around the track with the flag. And he sees me, and he runs over, and we give each other a hug, and then he takes the flag, and he goes on and off. And it was on national TV. And I just thought, I've seen Carl win the first gold, and I've seen Carl win his last gold.
That's pretty damn cool.
That's pretty damn cool. No, he's a great coach, and I hope they keep him around a long time over there. They get the Cougars and the Owls to compete even more. So,
Well, that is super
Yeah.
cool. Well, Coach,
There you go.
I really appreciate you coming in. If you don't mind, do you want to share your email if somebody wants to contact you to come and?
Yes, my email is stavhop@comcast.net. Stavhop, Stavhop. It's, if you add another P, it's pole vaulting in Swedish.
Oh,
I have Swedish ancestors.
interesting. So STAVHOP at Comcast.net.
You got it.
And so someone shoots you an email, they could talk to you about coming and bringing their kid out to train with you, or bringing themselves out there to train
Or
with
if
you.
they have $25,000, they could help me do a second publishing.
Yeah, you've sold out of books.
Second-
We should mention that.
Sold out of the books.
He sold out of the
man.
books, so he needs
I
to
need
publish more.
donations, baby, because I'm just a poor coach.
Pre-sell some books. Pre-sell some books. Yeah, we need to get some more books out there for folks.
Oh, God.
And then I also just want to say the Rice University track is one of the coolest places to be in Houston. The med center in the background, those oak trees all over the campus. I mean, it's just like this cool little oasis in the middle of this city. It's really special to be out there.
I was talking to someone this morning from the Audubon Society because we have wildlife out there. We have a family of bluebirds where the female bluebird will get on top of the light and break up the insect and then dive down to the hole in the pole that will go in to get the nest, and do this repeatedly in the evenings when the guys are vaulting.
That's cool.
And I want to get somebody out there to get super slow motion, because this beautiful bluebird doesn't go into the front door. It always dives from the top and then loops in. It's beautiful.
It's a magical place out
So
there.
it is really cool. And I'll tell you one more story.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a red-tailed hawk.
Okay.
Red-tailed hawk was female.
Okay.
I used to go over and get close to it and talk to it when it would land.
Okay.
One night, one of my athletes called me and said, "Coach, you have something on your chair." Well, I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. So I go to my chair, and it's a dead rabbit carcass. It's been eaten. And then a couple days later, a week later, there's a dead squirrel. And then another couple of days later, there's a shell of a turtle on the pole vault pit that it must have picked up in the bayou and brought over and just said, "Hey, look what I'm eating."
Oh, how
Now,
funny.
to make a long story short, I know you guys are tired of this.
This is just
but
meditation, dude. You're
I had
making
an
friends with
athlete that was
animals.
getting ready to jump, and we were watching the hawks, and she landed in this high light way up high, and as he started to run, she dove. And we're all going like this. She dove right down beside him. He didn't see it. She floated 2 feet off the ground. He took his jump. She looped up and landed on the standard and then looked at him as he stood up. And we're all roaring and going crazy. That's a true story. That bird went right beside him. He pole vaults and she lands in the standard. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. She's passed away now. They only live about 16, 18 years. Now there's other females and up there.
Damn, if that doesn't get you into meditation, nothing will, man.
If you're not ready to pole vault having a hawk jump with you, yeah, it's cool.
Damn, you got some special stuff
Hey,
happening out there
thanks,
on the
Frost.
track.
Appreciate it. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I might check it out.
It's never too late.
I ain't going to do it, but
You'll check it out?
I might check it out.
Well, thanks for being here.
All right.
See ya.
Very good. Thank you.